Okay, maybe that'll work. As I'm not going to be able to manage that. Alright, here we go. This is going to be for however many I can get in here. Live tarot for, right now, Cancer for the weekend of the 17th and 18th. So, Saturday and Sunday. 3 cards of regular tarot, then a Midnight Oracle card, and an Angel card as well. And I'll try and get as many signs in as I can here, but for our Cancers, we have the High Priestess, because we always have to be tied to that moon and that intuition, whether we like it or not, and I feel like we're going to be proven right in a way that we kind of wish that we weren't, but yeah, and then with the Queen of Cups coming in too. Maybe denying your inner feelings, denying your intuition feels like it's self-care, but in the long run, you do have to acknowledge the outside, how things are affecting you, and those around you. So, for our third card, you could also be finding that you are feeling guilty for taking care of yourself, but it's necessary. Very necessary, Cancer, and you can't be the one to carry all the emotional weight for everyone around you. You may find a little bit of relief from going back to some place you find familiar. However, once you get there, you are likely going to be in this position, Cancer, where you remember the good times and then you start to remember some of the bad times. Some of the reasons why you left it, some of the reasons why you didn't stay there, and it's kind of like going back to your hometown and realizing that it's familiar, but it's not the same, and neither are you. So, for our Midnight Oracle card for the Cancers for this weekend, we have the Eternal Bloom. Nostalgia may constantly bloom for you in your life, or you're constantly wanting to come back to the past, but you're also constantly being reminded that you're ever changing. You're ever changing, and so is everything else, even though your memory may want to tell you otherwise. However, you're still going to fall back into that pattern of, okay, but we need to do this now. We need to acknowledge the now, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that you're abandoning any part of you, and it's not that it's dying off, but you are very likely to see yourself different in the future too, so do not be afraid to acknowledge that, the good and the bad, and most of us are the way that we are for the moment for the reasons that we know at the moment, and more information is added to that later on, that if you knew that then you would have done something different, but you don't always know everything. So for your angel card this week in Cancer, we have Life in Review. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. It doesn't mean you have to change yourself. Change your perspective, acknowledge that things could have been a different way, and it may help you get over some things, draw some harder boundaries between yourself, the past, and people that you dealt with at the time, and realize that as much as you may want things to have been a certain way, they're never going to have been that way. It's just not going to change because of your desire for things to have been a different way. So realize that everything that happened in the past is just a stepping stone to get you to your current place in life and into your future. And you likely have more control over your future than you realize, so do not be afraid to acknowledge that. Now, moving on to Leo. For the weekend the 17th and 18th of January. So, Leo, your three tarot cards are going to be the Magician. Now, I remember that, I can't remember which sign it came up for, because I did the collective of Fucus, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini yesterday. And the Magician came up for, I think, a couple of those, and there's a lot of creative energy going on this weekend, so don't be afraid to tap into that, and don't hold back any energy that's saying that I want to do something. Pick what you want to do and utilize that momentum that you have going. With the Page of Swords coming in, again, more new ideas. Don't be afraid to follow through on your curiosity. You are a cat, and you're a fiery cat, so utilize that fire. If you do, however, happen to be burning out some of those who may have decided to come on this journey with you, it's okay. Take them back home and then go back on to what it is that you were doing. Because it really does feel like someone may be maybe all gung-ho about being, yeah, let's do that. Let's go and put energy into something. Go take that road trip. Go to some place that you've always talked about going. And about a third of the way into it, it's like, yeah, well, this is nice, but I don't know. Maybe they have something come up too. So don't be surprised if somebody else that seems very invested suddenly decides to fall off of whatever your plans may have been. That does not mean that you can't follow through with them. With the Three of Swords, it may be that that other person or other people that have decided to back out kind of takes the wind out of your sails, but you will be able to recover it pretty easily. There's almost that idea of, well, they're choosing somebody else or something else other than me, and what does that mean to me? Do not get stuck in your head this weekend. That's not what this weekend is about, Leo, and we are about to get your Midnight Oracle cards. So, let's see what kind of information that's going to have for us. Now, these are really cool. I love these. They're a little bit darker art, but I do love these. We have the Infernal Pact. You're a fire sign. Anything dealing with fire, anything dealing with energizing a situation, I don't think you need to shy away from too much. As long as you realize that your action's not necessarily always going to have the effect for everybody else that you think it's going to. Um, but this Infernal Pact is really going to be more about being honest with yourself, following through with the ideas and with the plans that you have for yourself, regardless of what is going on around you, what other people's plans may be, and deciding that, well, if they don't want to be a part of this, then that's fine. I can do this on my own. Stay true to yourself and follow through with the plans that you have promised yourself that you're going to go through with. Involve yourself with the things that you get something out of, just because the other people around you may not be as adventurous or as invested in something. That's fine. You can fuel all this creative energy that you need, all this passion for something, all on your own. And for your angel card, you've got Archangel Raphael. Take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. That being said, there may be a few times this weekend where it's like, what am I doing now? Which direction am I supposed to go? And just take a breath, take your time, and just realize that no, I'm on this road, and that's the road I need to stay on. It almost feels like some other energy maybe trying to pull you in another direction. However, I don't think that you really care too much after you think about it for a second, so just keep following through with what it is that you already know you need to do, what you know needs to happen, and don't feel guilty about it. It's not your job to feel guilty about anything this weekend, Leo. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as, if somebody gets their feelings hurt or whatever, they can they can deal because you have these plans set. So for Virgo now, we are going to do a little bit of a shake real quick on the tarot cards as well. So it feels like regardless of what sign it is that you are this weekend, and regardless of its placement, there's going to be, I mean, it's the weekend, People generally have plans for the weekend, but um like there's just that feeling in the air where people are going to be suddenly deciding that they want to go and do things and changing it up at the last minute. But for you, Virgo, your first card is the Page of Pentacles. You may be tempted to feed into something and then wonder why it is that nobody else is on board with your plans. Did you expect other people to put more energy and time and money into this because you had this great idea, and now you're surprised that nobody else wants to be as involved as you thought they wanted to be? And maybe because you think because you're the idea person behind something that everybody else is just going to fall in line and go with it, but you'll be avoiding conflict by, making moves on your own with the Chariot. Because the second card was the Five of Wands in reverse, and just realizing that you don't necessarily need the posse behind you. You don't need the group of fans and followers that you thought you needed, that you felt like you needed, that you deserved once upon a time. Now, that's not to say that they won't end up falling in line and coming to this later on and saying, "Oh, well, that's great, and I love what you did," and praising you for whatever it is that you've done. But it's like their energy does not need to be incorporated in this right now. It's just not some place where they need to be at, and it's likely this is something that you may not have been willing to move forward with without that support behind you. But I think something's going to happen this weekend that allows you to just do it your damn self, and there's nothing wrong with that, because less minds behind something just means that you get to take all the credit. So who doesn't love that? For our Midnight Oracle card for you, Virgo, we have the Ascendant. Very reminiscent of the Chariot card right here, right? So with the Ascendant, you are coming into your own and rising above any expectations, anything that may have been weighing you down, and realizing that maybe you can just let go and you can just do it without thinking. Now, there are often enough times where it's like, oh, well, I want to do this. Well, what are the steps that I need to go through? Especially being an earth sign. And you may get caught up a lot of times making the plan, making bulleted list and steps and sub-steps and all of that. And you're letting go of all that. It's just like, okay, I need to go in and make breakfast. I need a pan for that. I need an egg for that. Instead of thinking about it, you're just doing it. So it should help you get into the spirit kind of momentum where you can get things done a lot easier. And then it's like, okay, but I don't want to start thinking about it because it feels like it's going to ruin it. And now for your angel card for the weekend, we have prosperity. With the Archangel Ariel, your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. So it's likely, Virgo, that you found yourself in the past very tied to the plan. And at this moment, I think you're doing that transition where you don't even care about the plan anymore. You're just doing it. So that will help you and just start moving things to where it is that you have wanted them to be for quite Now we are moving on to Libra. And again, this is for the weekend of the 17th and 18th of January. So, and now there's a kitty. Hopefully she doesn't get in the camera, but nope. Alright, here we go. Up and over here. Nope. Does anyone not have a stubborn cat? It's like, yeah, no, I'm going to do this, and you can move me as much as you want, but Libra, that may be something that you're dealing with or how somebody sees you. So, for your tarot cards this weekend, that one flew out. So, we have the Happy Family card for you this weekend, Libra. Nothing wrong with that. Divine love and harmony. Now, some of these blissful relationships could be because you also decided to be fine with someone being over there. Like, yes, I acknowledge your presence. That's great. And you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing. And isn't it freaking fabulous? Could be dealing a lot with a Leo this weekend as well. And that likely is where the energy is coming in at, where it's like, you know what? I would like to do that, but I don't want to do it this weekend. You can support someone by just staying out of their damn way, and there is nothing wrong with that at all. Focusing on yourself and likely taking a break that you've needed for quite a while, Libra, is going to help you strengthen any kind of fortitude that you needed. Having been run off of your feet and dealing with whatever it is you've been dealing with lately. Likely a lot of family stuff, which is why everybody's happy, because you've been doing the work. You've been doing the work to make sure everybody's happy. Um, do not be afraid to take time for yourself this weekend, though, Libra. And for your third card, we have the Ace of Wands. A new project is going to come in for you. And I don't even think it's anything new. I think it's something that you may have been toying around with the idea of it, but you haven't been able to put anything physically into action. But you will have that opportunity this weekend. So do not be afraid to look a gift horse in the mouth at this point if nobody's calling you. If nobody's knocking on your door, take advantage of that. And don't ask questions. I'm sure that if anybody needs you this weekend, Libra, they will find a way to get your attention. And don't go trying to extend your energy towards everyone but yourself. You have a chance to focus on you, so do that. And for our Midnight Oracle card, the Warden of Shadows. Have you been keeping everybody's secrets for them, and why? Why have you been doing that? And is it to help them get along? Is it to help them deal with their issues? Or are you, because there is that energy of you've been helping people out a lot, has it been really to the point where they don't know how to exist without you? They can't really move on things on their own anymore because they feel like they need your opinion. They need your input in some way. And when you're assisting people, are you really setting them up for long-term success on their own, or are you keeping them in a position where you can utilize them? I know that's kind of a rough thing to think of, a rough kind of perspective to see things from, but I've seen situations like that happen before. Like, well, I helped you with this, so now I need 150% from you with help on this, and it's keeping you from doing what you need to do while you aren't doing anything anyway. Um, but for your Angel Oracle card for this weekend, Libra, We have courage. Be courageous and stand up for your beliefs. And again, that energy of you starting a new project, you starting something for you, not something that needs to be fixed, not something that needs to be manipulated to work. Start something on your own, and I do believe by the end of the weekend, you'll be able to say that you have the whole thing done, like painting the kitchen cabinets, or I don't know, like sewing a quilt, or finalizing something that you've really kind of let go of. It feels like there is something, Libra, that you like you really wanted to do, but for some reason you've been putting it off, and then this weekend you can start and finish it. So nothing wrong with that at all. And we are on to Scorpio now. Scorpio, three tarot cards, a midnight oracle, and an angel card. So here we go. And I have cards flipped over in the middle of the deck. That's great. All right, Scorpio. So for the weekend of the 17th through the 18th, we are here. Could be arriving someplace this weekend, Scorpio. Arriving to understanding why it is that you feel the way that you feel. Likely some information coming to you one way or another, and if you've had this intuitive idea that maybe someone had an opinion or someone was working behind your back or they didn't want to tell you, it's likely that that's going to be coming to the surface this weekend, and you're going to find out that you were right, and that maybe someone is a little bit more codependent on you than you realized. Like it goes deeper for them than you wanted to acknowledge, because I mean, they have a life outside of you, right? Like they have a whole life, they're a whole person, and they exist on their own whenever you're not in the room. So why are they going to feel like they really need your input? Why do they need to run things by you? And maybe there's almost like a darker side of this somehow. But with that Three of Cups coming up, it's like you're just trying to feel the vibes of the moment and not overthink anything. So as much as you're wanting to exercise your independence, it could trigger something in somebody else too. It's like, well, I didn't know you were doing that, and they didn't say anything to do with you. Um, they didn't say anything about, oh, well, I thought we were going to do this, and it's just kind of like they randomly show up to your house expecting you to not be doing anything. Oddly enough, after this weekend, there could be a breakup or a separation, because we do have this Ten of Swords. And it's almost like you're like, okay, where did you get the idea that we were in that kind of a relationship, that I'm always going to be available to you? And this could be coming from the other side too. So if you're dealing with a Scorpio, maybe they're more invested than you thought they were. They can kind of come off a little bit colder than you necessarily expect, but really there's more of this energy of, well, this is how things are, so this is how things are, and there's like a no question kind of feeling around Scorpio. It's just they feel very much like the earth sign of the water signs, where it's like, this is definitive, this is fact, and we don't even have to talk about it. We both feel the energy, we feel that that's how it is, and we reciprocate, so that is as absolute as it needs to be for a Scorpio sometimes. For your Midnight Oracle card, Scorpio, for this weekend, we've got The ascending flame. You may be redefining what it is that redefines you, or not redefines you, but where it is that you get your passion from and which direction it is that you want to go. Now, there is also the chance that there's going to be an opportunity for you this weekend where you have the ability to get to a level on something that you didn't realize you were going to be able to. Like suddenly you get a promotion, suddenly you get an offer for a job that pays you a lot more, that puts you into a position that you wanted to be in for quite a while. So don't be afraid to take that opportunity because someone had tentative plans or just kind of like an open schedule with you, or they could drop by any time, like your freaking Cheers, like you're a bar that you could just like walk in and pull up a chair at any point in time. You're not an establishment, and you can change your mind and you can be whatever it is that you feel like you need to be. So we are going to draw a angel oracle card now for this weekend, Scorpio. Teaching and learning. So with Archangel Zadkiel, I'm pretty sure that's how you say that. Keep an open mind and learn new ideas. Then teach these ideas to others. That doesn't mean they're going to learn it the same way you do. Does not mean that they are going to learn it or understand it the same way you do, Scorpio. So not everyone sees the world the same way. Not everyone can see color. So understand that you may see the one benefit of something while they won't understand that benefit at all. They just won't. They may see advantages in it that you don't, and maybe that you can't take advantage of. But we are moving on now to a kitty. This is on my paper. Sagittarius. That's that one. Okay. Okay, Sagittarius. For the weekend of January 17th through 18th, and that's the first card that comes out. After shuffling, that's the first card that comes out. A situation that you're dealing with, though, Sagittarius, can't possibly get any worse, and it's likely that you are putting up bullet points saying that this has happened, and this is what needs to be happening, and this situation did not meet the quota, the standard, something along those lines. It's almost like you're taking something off of a checklist. Like, these are the reasons that we can be together, this is why we can't, and this is why this isn't working, so, and why it won't work. This is why I can do this job, this is why I can't go to this job anymore, this is what I'm looking for in a job that I actually want, something along those lines. So, sounds like this weekend is going to be like a come to Jesus moment for someone in your life or for you, Sagittarius, and you're trying to break down what worked about it and what didn't. Be sure to acknowledge your inner feelings. As much as you may be feeling insecure, there's a reason why you're feeling those feelings, and you need to listen to them. It's like listening to the pain in your body. Pain in your body is telling you that there is something wrong and there is something that needs to be fixed. So, with the Empress grows things, right? The Emperor manages what already exists, manages a situation, and the Empress grows the situation. But in the reverse, it may be that you need to start taking energy away from something. You need to stop fueling something because it's not working out. If something is causing you anxiety, that's a sure sign that you need to do something. Kind of think of anxiety as the pain of your mind, right? The that makes sense, I promise. Like, if your mind is under a lot of anxiety, then find out why that anxiety is being triggered. Find out where that pain is coming from and see what you can do to organize things to, like, if it hurts whenever you move one way, you don't move that way again, or you find out why it hurts. You go to the doctor or something like that, and the same thing with anxiety. Find out where the anxiety is coming from and see what you can do about it. And you don't always have to resort to medication for it either. You know, you could just cut someone out of your life. I don't know. With the Crimson Prophet, some of these decisions that you make this weekend may be hard. They may be difficult to look back and see that you made them, and it is a gateway for you, though. This is going to be one of those gateways that you walk through and you understand that, like, you know what, that's what I had to do. And I had to move past a certain point in my life. I had to move past a mindset, a thought process, a career that just wasn't working for me. And it may feel like it's a little bit of a bloody situation, but it's necessary for you to, yeah, because it does feel like it has this battlefield kind of energy to it. Like you've been battling through dealing with these situations, and you're going to make a hard decision. But in the end, I don't think it's really going to be a hard decision for you, but there may be kind of an aftermath whenever you leave it. And even though you know that there's going to be an aftermath, and that's why you've waited so long to make this decision, you can't do everything for everybody either. You can't be the whole situation. You can't be the whole party. So don't be afraid to make that decision. And for your angel card for this weekend, Sagittarius, we have leadership, the Archangel Gabriel. It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. So if other people follow you whenever you walk out, whenever you quit a job, that's on them. That's their decision to make for themselves. So that doesn't mean you have to coerce or tell people that they need to quit their job. That's on them to make that decision themselves. But luckily, if you've been having issues with an atmosphere, with whatever this is, even if it's a family thing, everyone else is already has their issues as well. So do not feel guilty about how other people follow through on their own intuition, on their own thought process. Okay, here we got Capricorn. Capricorn for the weekend of the 17th and 18th. We have the Death card. Capricorn. I don't think this is you causing an ending. I really don't. I think this is you acknowledging that something ended and it ended a long time ago, and you have something else to deal with. You have something else that you're working on, and it's not so much that you thought you were going to be able to get back with someone or that you're going to be able to go back to a job, but you have definitively made up your mind for yourself, saying that I'm not interested in that person anymore. I'm just not. We had a thing, we don't now. That job worked for me, well, it worked for me, and now it doesn't, and now I'm moving on to another position, someplace else, or maybe even starting your own business. And Judgment in reverse. Even though you may be dealing with self-doubt or even feeling guilty to some degree, you know you're not going to be able to come back to that. And, ah, that was a cat. Um, You're not the source of the destruction. If you leave a job, if you leave, oi, just re-emphasizing that destruction, huh, kitten? Um, if you don't own the business, it's not your job to keep it together. It should function without an employee there that doesn't have ownership of it. If people bought the business and decided that all the old workers were going to stay there and keep it running, and that they need to be hands off and everything was going to be fine, after screwing up your pitch and plan, then it's fine. They can find out how wrong they're going to be. That was 2 and third card. This change could be coming about because you have news coming in. You could suddenly be made aware of an inheritance, it really feels like this is something that you were waiting for a while ago, like 3+ years ago, and it never came in. It never came in, and you're just like, fine, I'm moving on with my life and I'm doing what I need to do, but it's likely that you're going to be surprised by this communication, Capricorn. So do not be afraid to answer the phone, to read the email. You could be pleasantly surprised, and with everything else that you had here, it's almost as though this is opening a door for you that it just wasn't time back then. It just wasn't. So for our Midnight Oracle card for Capricorn, the Warden of Shadows. Again, I don't remember who this came up for, but it was in this the same stream. We have this idea that you may be keeping some secrets. You may know where some of the bodies are buried, especially if this is a job that you're leaving, a job that you're thinking about leaving. Almost like you were the head manager or the oldest employee there, like you've been there the longest, and everybody comes to you for answers, and you know where the problems lie. If someone comes in and doesn't want to heed your advice and doesn't want to listen to you, well, then it's kind of their fault that they don't want to be given the handbook of, you know, what you don't do and how you have to handle things for their own business that they own, for their own, it's like they refuse to take good advice. For your Angel Oracle card, Capricorn, all is well. Archangel Jeremiel, everything is happening exactly as it is supposed to. With hidden blessings, you will soon understand. And again, with that Eight of Wands coming in, it's almost as though whenever you make these decisions, that everything falls into place, Capricorn. So, moving on to Aquarius. Yeah, I'm almost done, kid. She is wanting to go to bed. So she does everything she can to keep me from going to bed. Uh, Aquarius. Now, 3 tarot cards for this weekend. We have the Empress in reverse. Even after a good shuffle. You know what? Oh, that should help. With the Empress in reverse, there's something about infidelity here, and that was after a bridge and a riffle, so we still got the Eight of Wands. You're going to end up hearing something that you don't want to hear that could end up sending you into panic, but I don't think it's about a partner being um, found to be cheating or anything like that. It feels like it's something else, but Maybe something financial. Because you didn't make the decision, something else is happening with money, and you feel like you're losing control with it. Because that was just putting you into a holding pattern. Or maybe it's about, maybe the delay is because you haven't made a decision about money, and we've got the moon there too. Because you're under the misperception that it's somebody else's job to make this decision. Whatever you're dealing with, make sure you go over the fine print. Ensure there isn't a loophole or a way around you being able to kind of cut to the chase with this. It's almost like if you took this to a professional, they'd say, well, this is waiting on you to do this, and this is what you need to do to get this money and to get this paperwork done, and you've been sitting here waiting for somebody else to follow through on their end. But yeah, don't repress your intuition about this at all. It does feel very money focused, and release the fear that you have of reading paperwork. Read the will, read the contract, see what you can find out, because it's likely that you already signed it and this is already yours, and maybe you can change it in a way that you are unaware of. Um, don't be afraid to acknowledge that you have more control than you maybe want to admit right now. I am leaving those out. So I'm going to tell you, Aquarius, for your Midnight Oracle card, the Blooming Veil. You're coming into this position where you can choose what you show others. You can choose what cards it is that you show, so don't walk into a situation expecting everybody to know everything about you, everything about your money, everything about your relationships. Treat it more like like I almost want to say the Dance of the Seven Veils, the Arabian dance. It's like a slow reveal throughout the dance as they're, twirling these veils and everything around, and they get discarded or whatever. But also, don't feel like you have to reveal everything. You are allowed to keep your secrets, and I do really feel like Aquarius, there's been a lot of times where the people that you may have been around, you feel like they knew everything about you. Like you didn't have to tell them anything. Like you start to say something in a conversation and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we know how you are." It's like, "Do they really? Do they really?" If you haven't been able to say your piece or freely give your opinion, complete sentences, complete paragraphs, however it is that you want to express yourself, if you haven't been able to do that around these people, do they really know what it is that you'd say, what your opinion is? And for your Angel Oracle card, we have claircognizance. Archangel Uriel, pay attention to thoughts and ideas that come to you as they are answered prayers. I I'm really trying to say that someone may be removing themselves from a conversation because they're not that keen on hearing your side of the story, and that tells you everything you need to know, Aquarius. So, and I keep hearing that whole thing of like, oh, we know how you are, we know what you think about this, we know what your opinion is. Excuse me, guys. I'm not sure if that actually came through on the mic. Oh no, I always feel that whenever people are trying to say things like, we know how you are, we know what your opinion is, it's like, No, you don't. You're trying to paint me a certain way, and that's what you're comfortable with because you know my opinion is not going to agree with whatever the hell it is that you're saying. But now moving on to Pisces. Pisces, here three tarot cards. Strength. Your inner strength is probably more obvious than you want it to be, and it may be coming off as self-doubt because you're not utilizing what you have. I think what you have is more obvious than maybe you realize, because every time you try and exercise that strength, Pisces, and it's for the weekend, um, everyone thinks that you're getting into your ego. Like you're trying to throw your weight around. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to get something done. And with these painful endings coming up, it's almost coming up like you standing within in yourself and not trying to shrink back, not trying to pull back your energy so that other people are comfortable, is seen as fighting words for somebody else. And this doesn't feel like crisis for you. It doesn't feel like it's failure for you. It feels like it's failure or crisis for somebody else. Like they've been defeated. Um, they've been defeated by trying to tell you who you are, tell you where you need to be, tell you how big you need to be, and while they were all focused on you, they neglected themselves and they became everything that they wanted you to be, which was little to nothing and not a threat. And we have the Three of Cups, which is, you may find that somebody around you is the architect of their own downfall. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be celebrating their downfall, but you may be celebrating the end to some barriers that have been up for you. I'm getting this visual of like the dam breaking open. It's like, okay, water can finally go where it wants to go. It can shape the banks. It can run and it can breathe and create whirlpools or waves wherever it feels it's necessary. So it's not a certain amount of freedom that's going to last forever, but it's finally going to let you stretch your legs. So if somebody's been trying to keep you cramped up and back in some place where they can keep an eye on you because that's how they feel they need to treat you, then that's their problem. Really, that's their problem, and that's their paranoia. They see that you could do something, and for some reason they don't want you to. It's kind of odd, but because it doesn't even feel like it would affect them. Like, oh no, they would have to be a witness to your success somehow. Um, we've got card 26 for the Midnight Oracle for you, Pisces, and the Sovereign's Oath. The only oath that you need to keep right now, too, is your oath to yourself. What do you stand for? What rules do you choose to live throughout your life? And you know why. You don't necessarily have to explain yourself to anybody else. If they want to have a conversation and understand you, sure, I see that you're up for that, but they're not going to take it seriously because they're on this whole other book of rules, laws, regulations. It's like, as odd as this is going to be, it's almost like Pisces, you drive a Ford and you have the Haynes Ford manual there and you utilize that to fix your car and maintain it. And this other person is driving a Mitsubishi and they're using like a Toyota manual to deal with their stuff because, well, that's what everybody around them uses. They use it because they drive a Toyota. They don't drive a Mitsubishi, and that's why things aren't working out for them. That's why the repairs that they're trying to make, the parts that they're getting don't work for them. Is there's a misalignment, there's a cognitive thing there that they're just not acknowledging. So keep to that oath that you made to yourself and your own set of rules. And I think you'll be fine this weekend, Pisces. This other incompatibility thing seems to be somebody else that you're witnessing. And we have the relationship harmony for your angel card. We angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's totally in line with what else is said for Pisces. So um, remember that the relationship that you have with yourself is the most important one, and thank you guys for tuning in. Please be sure to check the channel. I am behind on everything, but I'm trying to get back in the groove. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys back.